last couple episodes. I was like, it's not showing up on my side.
Right.
So I was like, I guess people are watching on it.
Yeah, I just always assumed it was us. Like like you said, it was just, oh, I'm just trying to tune in too early or whatever. But whatever, it works. It works now. Just one of the many things at streaming. It's like, something's happening, but there's nothing on the back end for Twitch to be like, hey, these settings look weird. But all right, well, now that we got that organized, you ready?
Yep, I'm good.
Hello, welcome. What is up? Welcome to episode 376 of the Centering Esports podcast presented by Philly Esports. And this is going to be the best episode ever because we have Valorant, a lot of Valorant drama to get to, and for the first time in a long time, we are talking Overwatch with Overwatch 2 news. Whoa. What year is it? As well as Yikes of the Week and e-news. Before we get to that, though, let me tell you about Philly Esports. They are our good friends, and they host monthly events, both online and, yes, they are returning to in-person events. That doesn't mean, though, nothing changes. They're still free, so no excuses. If you're in the Philly area, go ahead, sign up. Coming up here April 2nd, they have a Rocket League 3v3 in-person event. Again, completely free to sign up. $2,000 prize pool. So get you and your two friends to get in there. And April 9th, they have a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate High School Tournament. Completely for charity. And also a prize pool, though, for you. So don't worry about it. Also free to sign up. And Anuj, they will have Boston Scott, Philadelphia Eagles, professional NFL player, attending the event and competing against people. So if you ever wanted to at least say you beat an NFL player in something, maybe you can try to beat him in Super Smash Brothers. So there you have it. Anuj and I were going to attend the event, but we made the bad decision of getting married and having kids. So ultimately limiting our time that we can leave, unfortunately. But you don't have that mistake. You can do it. So go to phillyesports.gg, sign up for their events, win money. It's for free.
Hey, this is AKM and you're listening to The Centering.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of The Centering, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. This is episode 376, coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date is March 15th, 2022. It is a Tuesday. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter. Oh, and the time, by the way, is 9:03 p.m. Central Time. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Centering. Be a part of the conversation there. We don't have a TikTok, but if we did, we wouldn't be stealing content, Anuj, because we're above that. We don't steal content.
We just steal headlines.
That's right. We don't even give you the click that we're going to read the article. We just straight up look at the headline. Don't give you the click.
And we make just all of our assumptions.
We just we assume the story from there. So there you have it. That's esports reporting, though, at its finest, really. That's really reporting at its finest nowadays. And our Discord, you can join and follow there as well. My name is Tim. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports. And alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
So excited for Overwatch today, Tim. It feels like it's been, I say that kind of jokingly, but kind of like not jokingly, because it has been so long. So excited to bring it back into the realm and see how it goes.
I was talking to Brett, former host of the show. May he rest in peace. And I was like, dude, did you sign up for the beta? And he was like, I don't know, man. I've been hurt before. And I said, yes, but we've also been loved. Like, we've also been loved. Think of the good times. And I'm excited to talk some Overwatch. It's been, in a positive light, it's been years. We haven't talked positive about Overwatch maybe since we've been in Philly for the finals. I don't know. It's been a long
time.
long time. So it's good. It's good to talk positive. Other than that, to not start the show on a downer, we do have to address the elephant in the room, and that is the death in your family, as you sound a little different today. You don't sound crystal clear.
It's not coming back.
It's finally happened.
We're talking about my mic arm. It's finally decided to crap out on me. It gave way. I don't need to be a cheap ass and just go buy one now.
They're like $12.
It was like, so it was just functional. It was like doing its thing.
Hey.
It started like leaning a little bit more. Now I look at it and it can't even hold itself up. So like I'm gonna have to I'd have to stand like this with the mic up here. So
it happens to us all as we get older. You get a little bit of limp. No amount of touching is gonna help it stiffen up. No amount of twisting.
At least for $12, I can fix this one.
Yes. So unfortunately, though, you are on the headset for today, and that's fine. I just need to address it. So when people are like, "Oh, where's a new just sultry, bassy voice?" It's still there. It's just behind a wireless HyperX.
Hey, maybe I sound better. Tell me if I sound better. You never know with my Windows settings.
You never know with Windows. Everyone is one Windows update away from just sounding awful, or just not being able to be heard at all, because Windows settings, for whatever reason, feels like they would need to adjust everyone's audio settings every single time. Did you see? This is almost like a yikes. Did you see what Windows is starting to test on Windows 11?
No.
In menu advertising. So like in the start menu, to have advertising like between your icons and stuff.
How annoying would that be?
Like, I don't need, like, you want me to see, like, I will go to Linux in a heartbeat if that's the case. I will learn Linux if that's the situation that we're going to be in.
And like already with this like live feature, with now it shows the weather down there,
Oh, see, I get rid of all that. I don't have that on my computer.
Like it's still there on mine, and it feels a little like they're not selling me anything. It's just the vibe I get by like something being on there.
Right. No, because I don't need the weather all the time. If I need to know the weather, I'll look at my phone or I'll go to a website. I don't constantly need, hey, by the way, it's 76 right now. Oop, it went up to 78. Back down to 76. I don't need that.
It's like, oh, it's raining right now. Yep, they're right.
Looked outside, but
it's raining.
We are over advertised as a society. We are over advertised. It's too much advertising. But I digress, because we have a lot to get to here, Nuge. So let's get into Yikes of the Week. Would you like to start?
Yeah, this is Tim. We got to update everyone, because we talked about Doc and his Twitch lawsuit so much, and all the drama with Slasher when it first broke, and ultimately it was, where is this gonna go? Like, what's gonna come out from all of this? And Tim, we finally have a conclusion. Doc has released a statement, and it basically said Doc and Twitch have resolved their legal dispute, with neither party admitting any wrongdoing.
Boo.
I gotta say, that's like
Boo.
underwhelming, is it not? After everything we've been through for no massive settlement, Doc is a pedophile, like all these things that were coming out, and it's like, nah, neither of us did anything wrong. We just parted ways.
There was so much hype around this, and like you said, even from like Slashers, I don't even know at this point, was it supposed to be a joke tweet? When he said like, I know the real reason and it's awful, whatever he said back in the day before he went completely MIA.
Yeah, he said, I know that issue, but I can't speak about it due to like legal. Like made it just sound so big.
I mean,
so big.
and we even said, we were like, man, this sounds like pedophile. Like, this sounds bad. And now it's, yeah. Then it just, and then even Doc for the whole time was hyping it up. Listen, I guess I'm glad that there was nothing bad that happened, but at the same time, I am a little like, oh.
Like after all this time, I kind of wanted something.
Yeah, like it's like I was getting ready for this big.
Even
fist
if it was
fight.
like Twitch had like some cover up scam just to get him out, that would have been better than nothing. But man, where the hell did Slasher go? Off topic before you do your yikes. Is he still like?
He'll still.
I mean, there was something from him every day.
He'll retweet. There was something, but at the same time, there was always nothing. He was one of those guys where it's like he voiced his opinion, but it was like never.
But he leaked a ton of stuff. Like you would get a shit ton of leaks from him.
Yeah.
And it happened like often. Like game devs would come at him for like leaking their stuff early, and so for him to just kind of disappear, he was all of a sudden like he was like the Fox representative for gaming, and then he just like vanished.
I feel like the internet world got the best of him, maybe, and he just needed to take a break. I envy that.
I guess. That's like crazy.
I guess if you could just flip the switch and be out of it, why not? But
maybe he got like an 8 to 5.
Yeah, maybe he was done with the chase. Maybe he was like, I'm over it. So, or maybe he's actually secretly Thorin, and he's just now tweeting on his normal account.
Just tired of being.
Just tired of faking it the whole time. No, that's on that note, I don't know. Don't ask me why. I have no idea why. I looked up Flipside Tactics today. Just chilling, and I'm like, whatever happened to Flipside? Like, do you remember that org? Like,
yeah,
whatever happened to Flipside?
I mean, I only remember them from Counter-Strike.
Oh, they were huge in Rocket League. Like, they were big in Rocket League, and then they bailed out, and they have not tweeted anything since like 2020. So I guess RIP to Flipside. That. And they never made like an announcement. It's just one of those things where it's just they made a tweet about Rocket League and then it was done.
The guy that was running it graduated high school and that was it.
Yeah, it just took the password and ran, I guess. Like I thought they were like I thought they were big enough to make an announcement that they were done. Like
at least even just knowing them from the Counter-Strike world, they were like
they were in majors for a while there.
They were in majors and.
Like Markelov was on that team. That was the team that he made like a major after major after major in. So I think if you're an org, I want a goodbye tweet. I don't need this.
Let me know you're leaving.
Right. Like I don't need this whole, hey, we're just going to stop tweeting. We're not going to touch social media. I need a goodbye tweet so we can put the bow on it and call it a night.
I agree.
So I'm waiting for Flipside to say that, but
that's just an extra yikes of the week for y'all.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm just chilling there, and I'm like, whatever happened to that org? Like, you just stopped hearing from them. And sure enough, they just went away. They're just gone. You know what's not gone, though? Tom Brady, because he's back. But Anuj, unfortunately, there is a yikes tied to this, as a fan just bought the last touchdown thrown by Tom Brady the other day. I think this was, Saturday? Right? Because he came back on Sunday. So on Saturday, a fan bought at an auction Tom Brady's final touchdown pass. Huge memorabilia piece. Like that's like I don't even know.
That's as good as gold.
How does someone get this to sell? Like how does this not go to the team? How does this not go to Brady? Like what? How does this even get to a normal person's hands?
Like which receiver threw that in the stands?
Right. Like how is that possible? Well, he bought it for just under $520,000. Not rubles, dollars.
200 IQ play by Brady. Just maybe he's the one that sold it.
And the next day, less than 24 hours after this guy spent over $500,000, Tom Brady announced that he is coming back.
I mean, that's so brutal. And this guy is probably sitting there praying for Brady to take an ACL injury in the first play of the game.
And just never, that is true.
And forcing his retirement. Like this guy is just praying for something bad to happen to Tom Brady, because you got to feel for him. I mean, it didn't feel like a risky buy. Like I thought he was
No,
done. Like, I mean, it's dude 45 plus years old. You assume he's done. So
and they're
that
saying,
really sucks. Obviously, he's got some money. That would be the only positive I could probably say, unless he sold his family's house and everything that they own to buy this. Like, that would be a different situation. But hopefully, he's got some money and dude's doing okay.
and experts are saying that it like severely hinders the price now. Like, it's still going
I
to be
mean,
worth something because at least maybe you can sell it on the story. Like, oh, this was his last touchdown from his first retirement.
but like maybe 10K.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I
Maybe
have no
a
idea what that
Brady
market is.
touchdown ball probably goes for a couple $1,000s. You would assume,
I'm going to assume, though, and this is just me, I'm going to assume if you're okay spending $500,000 on a football, you're probably okay that this won't hurt you.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, this dude's probably okay if he spent 500,000 on, like I said, unless he sold everything he owned to buy it.
Right.
Like, he's probably doing all right.
Yeah.
At
Like,
least let's hope for that, because you don't want this guy to be suffering that hard right now.
no. So it's that feels bad, but who knows? Maybe he can buy the last touchdown. On a side note, pretty cool to see Brady back.
Is it?
I like Brady. I'm a Brady guy. I'm a Tampa guy, so I'm happy.
See, like, the difference between you and me when it comes to football, and we're both the same in a lot of ways, but the difference is I have false hope that my team has a chance.
Yeah, I
You go into
know.
the season with no hope. So for you to see Brady back, you're like, meh, I like Tampa also. My
Yeah.
family's from there. Your dog grew up there, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But, like, you don't mind. But as, like, a team that has, like, false hope that, hey, maybe, just maybe, this is the Cowboys' year. We're going to do it. I don't want to see Brady back in our division. Like, it's the last person I want to see back.
Yeah.
I was ready to move on from him, and I was ready for Rodgers to change teams, and
That's
be
what
like,
I'm more disappointed in. The fact that
It-
Rodgers is back. My only hope is that, like, he's just we finally see this him self-sabotaging the Packers that everyone's been talking about for the last year and a half. So hopefully that happens. I do love the fact, though, that, like, everybody in Tampa was ready to, like, pack their bags and looking for other teams. And then as soon as Brady announces he's back,
all resigned.
all of them like, hey, never mind, Tampa, we're back. I forget what player it was, but one, like, tweeted out, like, a farewell tweet to Tampa and then deleted it. Like, he
Just
deleted
gone.
the
Just
farewell
gone.
tweet. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
going to save this one for later. I guess I'm going to hang
if
out.
you can get one more year, maybe 2 more years with him, it's gonna, like, boost your career. He's
Oh
gonna
my
make
God,
you
yeah.
look better. So yeah, you can't blame any of them for wanting to play with the GOAT. I mean, dude is the GOAT. Like it or love it, hate it. It is what it is. So yeah, I mean, hey, life could be worse for us, Tim. You could be a Steelers fan. So
This is
have
true.
Mitch Trubisky coming in.
You could
Should be
be
a football podcast today.
Could be LeBron on the Lakers, where
Could be.
he's not having a fun time either.
Hey, LeBron's not the problem on that team, though.
No, but he's definitely hasn't been the solution either, which is not good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's still crushing.
You know
His
who could
team
do it?
sucks,
Jordan.
of course, right? Jordan could do everything.
Let's start that debate. Wolf says in chat that Flipside has a PUBG and fighting players. I don't think if you're looking at their website, I don't think it's been updated for a long time. Because if you click on those players' like Twitter accounts, half of them haven't tweeted since 2020, or they don't have Flipside anywhere in their profile. So I'm gonna assume that they're dead. Like, Flipside is no more. Like, even if I click on their store link, it doesn't even take me to a store. Like, they're done.
That's the ultimate sign of being done.
Right. Like Echo Fox.
Close down the merch shop.
Like, when Echo Fox had to close doors, I was ready to immediately go and buy an Echo Fox memorabilia, but this looks like it's done. So, everyone, thoughts and prayers. If you were thinking about being a fan of Flipside Tactics in 2022, it's not the year for you. It's just not. So, RIP. All right, let's get into Do we have a good dude?
We do.
Oh, we do have a good dude.
I kind of like this one. I thought it was fun. Like I saw that Riot had tweeted out they raised 3 million in relief funds for Ukraine through in-game contributions. And so the good dude here to me is the player base, right? Because I think the player base contributed 2.3 million. They said, and they're contributing the other 700,000. So that's awesome on their part as well. But props to you, the players. I mean, just understanding the importance of what's going on. A lot of times as gamers, we can kind of isolate our stuff like from real world events kind of easily, right? We get so involved in the game that we're playing or whatever. So it is nice to see that people are paying attention to what's going on and they're helping with $1 donations, $10 donations, whatever it is, it's awesome. And so just
I
wanted
think this was
to give a
also
props and
part of it where any in-game purchases went to it as well. So like through Valorant, like if you bought a skin, like, and it might still be going on, I have no idea, but it was like that was also being contributed. So
notice how has Valve said anything? They got like a huge Russian player base. I was just kind of curious.
there's no way Valve has said anything. Valve doesn't say anything anyways, so that's their one out, right? Like Valve never says anything about anything unless it's the TI. Like so let's see, Valve, does Valve even have a Twitter account?
I mean, the individual games do.
Yeah. Valve Software does have a Twitter account. But it has not said anything. Go figure. Their last tweet would have been February 28th. So convenient right around when the war started. They were like, social media guy, why don't you take a break?
Yeah, you're on hiatus for
Why
a
don't
little
you
bit
go
here.
take a break here? We don't want to touch this one here. No, they have a huge shout out to all the EU players. They're probably loving it because for a while there, I think Russians were kind of infesting their servers. So maybe they're finally getting a little break from it. So if there's one positive that can come from this war, Nuge, it's EU Counter-Strike players can play.
Matchmaking experience has been better for
It's
some.
a little bit better for them. So glass full moment here.
We're going to hell.
Yeah, probably. Just don't clip that one, and we'll
We
be
joke
fine.
because we don't know how to handle awkward situations, guys. Okay. Remember
Boy, ain't that the truth. Talk to our wives. Talk to our wives. Let's move on though to something a little bit more depressing, and that's Overwatch. As we have finally have a news that Overwatch 2, we have a beta sign up. Did you sign up for the beta?
I did.
Okay,
I
so
did. Oh, after you told me, so I was probably late to the game here. But
well, it doesn't matter
did.
because you get into every beta anyways. I won't.
That is also
Me, I have played Overwatch from the moment it came out till the moment I stopped. I played it every single day. That was Overwatch was and I haven't played in probably 2.5 years. Like right around when my son was born is when I stopped playing. Lack of sleep in Overwatch just did not mix well for me. And I did that beer league, and it was absolutely sucked all the fun out of my life playing that game. So that wasn't ideal either. But I played, that was really probably the last game that I grinded out. Like, me and you will go in flux where it's like, hey, you want to get on Counter-Strike every day for 3 weeks? Sure. You want to get on Valorant now every day for 3 weeks? Sure. But we've been kind of in like a steady monthly rotation of games, I would say. A month or two here and there. Overwatch was the last game that I'm like, I'm home from work, I'm playing Overwatch. This is also because it came out before I was even married, so that helps.
Yeah, I mean, well, mine have been a lot of Blizzard games. Obviously, World of Warcraft. You were there with us in that for quite some time too. But yeah, I mean, Overwatch for me it's been a really long time. I mean,
because you never really got into it.
I never really got into it, but I still played it because a lot of my, you guys included, a lot of my friends were playing it. So I would get on and play, but I was never fully like hooked to it.
No, like I was hooked and I was good. That's the other thing. I was actually pretty damn good at it. And then we all know where it went, right? Like we're thinking of the good times, but Overwatch for the last 2.5 years, it's been dead. Like, let's be real. We haven't seen a good update for it in a long time. And that's mainly because Overwatch 2 has been right around the corner. But with that being said, we've had nothing on Overwatch 2. Like we talk about on the show, like the league is set to start here soon. And we had no news on if the players have gotten it. Nothing, even as of last week at the major for Call of Duty. I was talking to someone in the know, and they were saying like, what you know, because I asked him, I was like, so what do you know that I don't know about Overwatch 2? What's going on there? And he was like, what you know is what I know. He's like, they're not telling us anything. He's like, our players haven't wanted it. People want to do player interviews, and I'm like, what do you want to talk about? They haven't played anything. Like, they haven't played Overwatch 2. They haven't been asked about it. They haven't tested it out. Like, there's nothing Blizzard is giving these guys. Well, Anuj, that all changed because we finally have some information here with the beta coming out. Signups are going on, okay? Obviously, we already knew that it was going to be 5-on-5, so that's going to be a huge change. In the beta, you are going to have the new hero. So
it's just one, right?
One new hero.
Sojourn or whatever.
Sojourn is how I'm going to say
That's
it.
what we'll go with.
I haven't heard anyone say it out loud, but Sojourn. So they are going to have the one new hero, but, and I know people are probably poo-pooing like, oh, one new hero? Like, it's been years since we had the last one.
I'm assuming a lot of reworks.
There is. So you're going to have Orisa, Doomfist, Bastion, and Sombra will be reworks. But even on top of that, you're going to have a lot of heroes that are different. Like Divas, like all the tanks are pretty much getting reworked, right? Because you're only going to have one tank now per meta. So where tanks before were very heavily based off their combination of the two, they're going to have to rework them all. So I pumped the brakes on we only get one new hero for Overwatch 2. Yes, but
it still feels a little light. Although there are a lot of reworks, it's just sometimes that's an extra pop factor that after so long you thought there would be like a couple new additions. I'm not saying give me 10 new heroes and like, make it crazy, but like 3-4 seems kind of like an acceptable number after.
I would like to see what happens in the works, right? I'm sure they have other heroes in the works, but they probably want to get an idea for how the reworks and the 5v5 plays out. And then they can, there's no point in releasing heroes.
I would like to think they have other characters kind of lined up, ready to go, so you're not waiting.
And there's a bunch of, like, you can go on, like, Overwatch fan websites, and there's so many fan theories, like, because these are all, like, lore-based people, right? And so, like, for a lot of them, you can find, like, little Easter eggs in the maps that have changed throughout the life of Overwatch, and you're like, oh, there's going to be another mech player, right? And things like that. So it's out there if you really wanted to look at it. I think there's going to be more. You're going to have that new mode push, which they got rid of the 2 cap point. So we're having a new mode, new maps, and a new pinging system, which is very underrated, I feel like, in the FPS world.
I mean, it's nice that we've seen that addition to several games now. Like
almost seems like like you need a pinging system at this point.
Who was it? Like, was it Apex that really like?
Yeah, Apex was the one.
Really good pinging system to start, and it was just kind of went from there. Like every game added their own version of that.
Yeah, and for a long time, Counter-Strike never had one, and I remember a lot of people thought
it's still weird to have it in Counter-Strike.
I forget that it's in Counter-Strike.
I will use it accidentally and then remember in the game, like, oh, that's right, I can ping. Like, I can ping where
people are like, where? I'm like, over there, and I'm like, oh wait, I can click exactly where. Look, it's amazing, especially like for some people who might not want to talk all the time, or if you don't know all the call outs, because God forbid, especially in a game like Overwatch, like the maps are not symmetrical or they're not like the most uniformed type of maps, right? So if you have like a specific call out or something like that, it's just, it's not like Counter-Strike where everyone knows the call outs, right? There's a lot of, you can't be like, oh, to the left or to the right, because like they could be coming from everywhere type of thing. So I'm excited for the beta. Like the hype all the disparity, like bad Overwatch memories are in the past. I am turning a new leaf right now, Anuj, because I feel like, and they did say that the players are going to get it. I think they said 2 months. So the new season starts May 5th. I believe I saw the video and they said that the players are going to get it at least 2 months before the season. So obviously not ideal. I guess you would hope they would have it, now. But, well, I guess they do have it now, right? We're 2 months away from May. Jeez.
Yeah.
So they should already have some early testing, and obviously with the beta. But, I think 2 months is...
I'm not going into this with blinders like, oh, hey, forget Overwatch 1. Now let's see what they have to offer. Like, the problem is you and me got to play test Overwatch 2, albeit briefly, and we don't know how much has changed since then. But, like, it still felt like the same game. Now, what I hope is different is, like, I hope the esports side of it, for me, is what I'm excited to see and how that evolves. I know they're also taking out, like, what was it, that weekly hero band that the game, what do they call it?
Right.
I forgot the name. It's like a hero band, whatever
rotation
it was. Yeah.
thingy.
So that's like gone. They want every character to be available, each week. I'm excited for the 5v5. So I'm excited more for the esports than for my personal enjoyment, because if the game still feels the same, it wasn't a knock on it. It just wasn't a game that like I really loved. But I'm going into it open to the idea of wanting to play it.
Right.
So, but I also know where we're coming from. So I'm kind of keeping that in the back of my mind. We'll see how different it feels.
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that Overwatch 2 killed Overwatch 1. Like, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that, and from everything we've heard, is like they were wanting to do updates on, either or, right? They were working on stuff for Overwatch 1, and then they got pulled to do Overwatch 2, and then that stuff got canned, so they had to go back to like, we heard it was stuck in development hell for a while there, much like everything at Blizzard was, right? I mean, that's just what we heard. Blizzard, and Overwatch especially, their team, was a shit show. It was mismanaged into oblivion. Like, the game, I don't think, because the game was still fun towards the end. Like, even I got on maybe like a year or whenever I got back on, remember I played like a couple matches and I was like, oh, I had a lot of fun. But all the issues were still there, like the queue times, then the meta, and then just the way you had to, it's like if your team wasn't the perfect setup of heroes, you're just losing from the beginning and people aren't switching and things like that. I think the 5v5 will help out immensely. I think it's going to feel like a completely different game for those of us who played a lot, and like for you who were like, it's not bad, it's just not my thing. I think the 5v5 will help out. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Our too soon review will probably be good of the game. That would be my guess. Like, our too soon review that we do, because it'll feel very busy. It'll be populated again, so queue time shouldn't be an issue. Graphically, it's going to look better and probably play smoother. You and I are on big boy computers, since the last time we played it, and playing on ultra wide, the game looks visually very appealing. As like the world and all that it's in. So my guess is our too soon review will be good. I'm curious to see what like the 6-month review is from us. Like after it's been out for a little while, where are we at, and how much have they changed their development cycles?
And that's it, right? So I need to see the same love for Overwatch 2 that I saw them give Overwatch 1, which is really when Overwatch 1 was in its heyday. Like, people like to make fun of Overwatch now. Like, even we make fun of Overwatch. People don't forget. Like, that was like, it was on top for a while there. Like, especially on like the esports side of things, and like when the league started. I mean, it was huge. Like, no matter what people say, it was huge, and it was a success.
It made the biggest streamer of all time.
Yeah, XQC came from Overwatch. Like, that's the so you're absolutely right. A lot of Tim the Tatman got wildly popular. That was kind of his huge launching point was Overwatch. So, people in esports, you'll hear people knock on it. You'll hear people make fun of it and things like that. A lot of it's because they're bitter about it, right? Because they've been laid off or whatever, and rightfully so. Or they're just riding CS nuts and they just refuse to admit any game is good other than CS. So Overwatch, don't get it twisted. Overwatch was good. It was the best for a short moment, but it was just caught up in their own development hell and mismanagement that kind of killed the game. And like I said, I think that all started looking back when Overwatch 2 development started, and they just didn't know how to split their attention between the two games. So I'm hoping, because, Overwatch, we were getting new maps, we were getting new heroes, skins, constantly.
They need to take a page out of Valorant or Riot's playbook when it comes to, like, content release schedules.
But see, with Overwatch 1, though, it was on a steady, I think it was like every 2 months we were getting a new hero, or like it was like a set on a schedule. Like you could almost set your calendar to it. But then as soon as Overwatch 2 development started, done. Like you never saw a new hero, never saw anything. And the updates that were come out were very like half-assed. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going in very optimistic. The feel good, the positive vibes are back. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun to maybe get back with some old Overwatch friends and play. It'll be fun playing with you, who kind of on like a fresh set of eyes. I think
when is the beta coming out for us to be able to play?
The PvP beta is in late April, is what they're saying. I don't think there's an official date yet, but late April.
Okay, but not too far away.
No, I mean we're already mid March, right? Yeah. So it's really right around the corner. So I'm excited for it. I know a lot of our listeners, right? Like we started back when Overwatch was a little baby, just a little idea in Blizzard's nutsack. So I'm excited that a lot of our listeners played Overwatch. I played it with a lot of them. So hopefully you guys signed up for the beta, and if it's not too late to sign up. Do it, and let's rock. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the league to start. The schedule came out. Dallas Fuel, I think, is kicking off opening weekend against Houston, of course. So I'm excited. Like I said, I don't want to get too carried away here. We're less than 2 months away from the league starting, this beta. Now, not to shit on everyone's parade here, we still don't have a release date for Overwatch 2, though. So,
no.
It's like, this is the first beta. Now, maybe...
This better not be like a 3-day beta and then we don't hear from you for 6 months.
Right. Is this, hey, we need you to make sure this game isn't completely broken beta? Or is this, hey, the game's pretty much done and this is like early access type of thing?
Well, the good news is if the pros have it right now, they're going to be getting a ton of feedback before the beta even comes out.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And who knows? Like a game's never been in development with the pros being the only ones giving feedback on it. So maybe that means good things for us, right? On the casual side, like maybe you'll see some pretty good balance out there right out the gate. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's get into some Valorant talk, though, because we have a lot of things going on right now. Obviously, with VCT kind of hitting its towards the end of the first stage, getting ready for the first major. We have some talent news to discuss. Where did you want to start?
Well, the Valorant topic in general today came up because of a discussion that Tim and I wanted to have last week. And that was, I believe it was Pioneers, withdrew from Valorant altogether, released all their players, and moved on. And the reason Tim and I were talking about this was we both, I feel, believe that we have a format issue on our hands, right? Of how VCT is conducted throughout the year, the way it's scheduled, the lapses in time between one event to another, and also the lack of other TOs being involved at a high level where teams see the value in staying beyond VCT. So this is where Valorant, we're like, you know what, let's just do a Valorant topic today because this was on the back of our mind. And so maybe we just start with that just for a couple minutes. I don't want to make that like a 20-minute discussion or anything. But like, I think we could both say we're in agreement that the way the VCT format is set up, it's not conducive for orgs to stay in it if they're eliminated early in the process, because what else is there for their team to compete in that can cover the salary money that they're going to have to pay?
Like even if you're like a fringe team and you have a good roster and you're like, damn, you know what? We were like 1 round away from qualifying for this thing. I would like to keep the band together, but I also don't want to pay you for 5 months of doing absolutely nothing. So, and we've discussed this problem before, right? And even in the Pioneers tweet when they said, "Hey, we're dropping our roster, but we'll be back," right? So it's like even they're admitting, like, "Hey, we're done for now, but don't worry, because when things get picked back up again, we're going to look for new players and possibly re-sign some of these guys," right? Who knows, right? It is a flaw. Like, there's no doubt about it. And we're even seeing it now, like on the EU side, where you have Ascend fail to qualify on the EU side. Ascend, for those who have forgotten, defending world champions. So is that a roster you just want to drop? No. But now it's a roster you are paying to not play. They lost, and now you are pretty much like they're in this awkward spot.
A lot of their salaries got reworked. Remember the whole drama with drawing a blank on CNED. They were going through contract negotiations with him, and there was a chance that he was potentially leaving. So these guys are getting paid really well, and to be eliminated so early in the process, and now you got to wait for VCT Masters 2 to come around. You have to then qualify for that, to make it to wherever they're going to hold that event at. So it's like really concerning for just the ecosystem of Valorant. You hate to not see hate to continuously compare Counter-Strike to everything, but it's just so easy to do. But
well, you know what though? You can't. It is okay to compare this to Counter-Strike, or anything to Counter-Strike for that matter, because especially on the FPS world, they're modeling themselves after Counter-Strike.
I mean, they literally have copied the game for a lot of aspects of the game. I know they didn't copy the game, but a lot of aspects of the game. Yeah. So I mean, with Counter-Strike, you have a different event you have a different big event monthly. You have a different event almost weekly. If you go onto HLTV's page and look at, you can say what you want about Counter-Strike being a boomer game. There's 15 different tournaments listed, almost weekly, it feels like, for HLTV that are going on that are at least a tier 3 and above level, And I think that's really great because that drives teams to be like, okay, we're a mid-level org. We can afford to pay you because you guys are competing and we're seeing growth. But with Valorant, once you're eliminated, what is there to prove your team's worth and then go make you, if they're not creating a shit ton of content for you, maybe streaming on only your channels instead of their own channels, surely there's got to be something in it for the org to want to continue paying a top salary if they're not a top org that can just afford it.
And on top of that too, well, maybe hopefully X10, right? Because they kept all the prize money. So they didn't pay out any of their players. So at least they can survive if they don't qualify. But yeah, for most orgs, look, we've always talked about how in esports, we always hear everyone operates at a loss almost in esports, right? So now when you're operating at a truly dude, we're not even getting anything. And there's not even a chance we can take a percentage of your prize pool. It puts the org in an awkward spot. But I forgot what I was going to say. What were you talking about? You mentioned Ascend. Damn it.
Yeah.
I made a point because you said something and I was going to actually bring up a point. We'll get back to it. But no, because you were talking about Counter-Strike, how they have events all the time.
Yeah.
Even by the schedule, right, for VCT, we don't even get to the part of the year where, we're going to have other TOs throw official Riot-sanctioned events where these teams can compete. That's not even till the end of the year. They don't even have those sprinkled in. So I'm hoping maybe next year, or even maybe this year, make an executive decision here, Riot, and mix things up. You have to have these tournaments sprinkled throughout the year, not just through the months of November, December, because for this exact reason, teams need a reason to stick around. You don't want to drop an entire roster, but B, because that's just not even good for your ecosystem. Now you have 5 guys completely floating out there. And B, if you want to even just make a roster move, right? Let's say Pioneers wanted to stick around and said, you know what? We want to do this, but we want to drop so-and-so. Well, what are they supposed to do now? They're supposed to sign a new player and then sit on that player for months until the next event goes,
Yeah.
not even knowing if it's going to work out, with no, like, other than just scrims, but no, like, live action practice. Like, it's just, it doesn't. And
They
I
probably know the free agent pool will be pretty decent when it comes time for them to rejoin. There'll be enough talent out there
well, of course,
where they can.
because they're
form
not going to look. They're not the only ones who are going to be dropping players.
No, they're not. And like, I'm just, I would love to see like a blast type format maybe throughout the year, like in between the tournaments you do, the spring, fall showdowns and all that they do, or like shocking that like ESL is not like involved, they, especially with the buttload of money that they just ran into, working for the Saudi prince. And so it's like it's kind of interesting to not see any other major TO involved at this point. Like, don't get me wrong, Nerd Street's big, but they're also like considered more your local land vibe, right? When
Right.
when you think of Nerd Street like being tied to some of these, like they're big, but they're not ESL big, right? It's just, I'm surprised we don't have another big name kind of mixed in here with them.
I just think you need something, right? I mean, even at this point, I think teams would be happy with Nerd Street events sprinkled throughout
No,
the season.
like again, it's not a knock on Nerd Street. It's just the way that they're formatted. Like they put off the more like local vibe feel, and maybe it's because they're tied with like local host and all the other stuff that they're doing. It's just the vibe that I get when I think of Nerd Street versus like an ESL. I think of large scale productions and stadium type events. And so it's just interesting to me that we have a lack of TO involvement. Maybe that's due to Riot's part, I don't know. But I would like to see more of it. It's just on the wish list for now.
Yeah, and like I said, this has been my complaint from day one with how VCT is set up. Like, it doesn't allow you to have an off period. Like, even if you were point in case, Ascend, right? You were the best team in the world, defending world champions, and what a terrible look now going to the Masters where you don't have them in it, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, even just from a promotion sake. So it's a tough pill to swallow, I think, for Riot. Like, they probably weren't hoping for it, but with the way they have it set up right now, it's just the nature of the beast. I don't particularly like it for multitudes of reasons, but even going back to what we always say, it's kind of tough to care about these early qualifiers for this exact part, right? Like, call me when the big boys start playing. Like, I know that all the teams are playing and competing right now, but I want to see the guys who qualify. I don't need this qualifier for a qualifier event. Just set up a mini league or something and go. Like, let's have meaningful things early on. But right now, it's almost like this isn't gonna make sense, and I know this saying this out loud, but it's almost like they're too meaningful for non-meaningful events, right? The fact that you can like lose this early on and be completely out of it doesn't make sense. And I don't blame any of these orgs for being like, yeah, we're going to tap out for now and we'll just jump back in.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I agree with what they're doing, sadly enough.
Yep. The other part of this Valorant discussion comes from the talent side. Did you want to talk of this now?
Yeah, we can do this.
So Sean Garris, baby boy Sean, tweeted out earlier today that he found out that he was not being invited back to be an analyst on the
didn't
desk
make
or
the
play
cut
by
for
play.
Masters 1.
Yeah, he didn't make the cut for Masters 1 to be in part of the talent. And then he said, you know what? That being said, he's taking himself out. He told Riot he's no longer interested in doing talent work, and he's exploring his options on the pro side of things. I think that means like being involved with an org. I don't think he's looking at going pro. I think he's
like
just
coaching,
scouting, player
analyst,
development, whatever, right? Whatever role you want to give him, that's what he's looking for. So this kind of started a little forest fire of drama across the Valorant scene and esports and things like that. First, I'll just address Sean here. Is I thought, when he first started talent, I even said this on the show, I wasn't that impressed with him. I felt like he was kind of too nice when analyzing things, but I feel like that's everyone in Valorant. Like, everyone's afraid to be critical in Valorant when it comes to talent. I thought he was fine. Like, and we've seen this with Riot a few times where it's like sometimes they'll invite Van Silly, sometimes they won't. I have no idea what goes on behind closed doors on how they pick their talent. It sucks for Sean because I thought he was good enough.
Yeah, Sean was definitely good enough to be on the desk. Like he was a good analyst. He's well spoken. He's also pretty, right? Like, I mean, he's nice to have on the
Gorgeous,
desk.
beautiful eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I would have seen. I'm kind of surprised he didn't get selected. I mean, with that being said, like, there's also a lot of people competing for that job. So, like, I'm not saying other people don't deserve it. Like, I feel bad that he didn't get selected, but I also couldn't tell you, like, we'll kick this person off to get him on. Like, they're all very deserving and put in a lot of work to get to that point. Like, he got an unfortunate call, but somebody else got a really exciting phone call. And so, calls that we would love to get. So I understand
Yeah.
that feeling for somebody else. So it came across as like a little like boo me in that situation. It's kind of how I took it, honestly. Um, and it's not, again, like, I'm not knocking him. I'm really not. I like him a lot, and I think he's really good. But that's just kind of how I took it. So now he's going to go explore pro options, and that's great too. I want him to be involved, and he'll get a job with a team. Um, and I know Hastro had tweeted out mentioning that he thought a lot of the talent, whether it was
I actually have
on.
I can pull up his tweet here real quick and
Okay.
take a look. Because I actually commented on it and got a lot of people responding and started a little conversation with that one here. So let me pull up Hastro's tweet. Hastro being the owner of Optic Envy. Hastro tweets out, my opinion on the importance of casters in esports. Casters should get paid as talent just as players get paid as talent. If you want to win titles, you take care of the best talent. If you want to improve your entertainment value, you take care of your best talent. So essentially saying, like, look, if you're in the business of running a tournament, if you're a TO and you want to be the best, you got to pay the best like you would a player. And although,
Do you think that's what he meant by that, though? Like, pay him as a player or pay them for what they're worth as talent?
so the first time I read it as you need to pay them like you do a player. But after reading it out loud and having time to sit on it, I think you're right. I think he's just saying, hey, pay the best, and then go from there. Like, they don't need player paychecks.
If they're asking for what would be considered top dollar value, like a sponge or machine, right, for example, in Counter-Strike, like, they probably have a set quote that talent gets paid at their level, and that's what they expect to be paid. I think that's what he's referring to here, because surely he's not talking about paying them the same as players, because that's just ludicrous. Like,
so what I responded to him, and I said, let's play devil's advocate. Players can bring in sponsorships and other revenue just through being a popular player. Talent can only do so much on that sense. And so I think that's why when orgs are trying to cut budget, or if a talent tries to come in and big dick and say, hey, I need $200,000 or whatever. I have no idea what a talent gets paid. But I need $200,000 to be there for the week. And they're like, but this other guy needs like $60,000 and he's just as good as you, maybe a little worse, but he's half the cost, right? We're going to go with this guy. I also get that because, and I've said this multiple times, and this is what people didn't understand on Twitter when I was talking about this, is at the end of the day, if the Super Bowl is on or whatever, don't get caught up on the traditional sports comparison, but if your favorite esport, if your favorite sport's biggest game is on, or your team is playing rather just in the regular season, are you not going to tune in because you don't like the casters or the play-by-play? Like, as long as it's good casting, as long as it's a good analyst, now I'm not saying, because it's hard. Like, I've worked in sports radio. I've tried doing play-by-play. I was horrendous at it. I have the audio. Maybe we'll play it one day. Probably not, because it's horrendous. It's tough. It's tough. I did it twice, and I was like, I give up. This is tough. So I understand the importance of having a good one, but I don't see the urge of always having the best, especially.
Well, okay, let me play devil's advocate to that real quick, because look at, if we're comparing this to traditional sports now, Tony Romo, Troy Aikman, Joe Buck, Mike Tirico, the list goes on for talent, right?
Right.
Play-by-play or analyst, whatever. In some cases, they make significantly more now than they made in their playing days.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, don't get me
Now,
started on
we can talk about,
the
oh, well, TV has like TV money and advertisers and all that, but it's not Tony Romo that's bringing in the advertisers. It's
No.
still the players, the
Yeah.
teams, the
Don't
games,
get me started
right?
on the. Did you see what they were going to pay the coach of the LA Rams? What's his name?
Yeah, insane.
Dude.
Yeah, like absolutely insane dollars to leave.
Unreal. I don't understand the TV analyst money game. Like, why
Like, so if we're gonna compare these two, then we also got to look at what they're doing.
Right.
But
that's what the station is. I'm talking. What my comparison is from like an advertising standpoint. Is like, if I'm a sponsor, and I want to pay for VCT commercials, right? I don't necessarily care if the best casters are there if I'm still getting 200,000 people watching, no matter who's casting the event. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. I do understand what you're saying.
And
I think part of it is just the overall experience.
Right. And that's
is
what
enhanced by
Of
a
course.
good caster, a good a good what do they call it? What were we just talking about? Observer, for example. Like a good observer versus a bad observer is probably a
night and
bigger
day.
difference than a good caster versus a bad caster.
Yeah.
Right? Like a good observer you can make your own story by watching the game, but
Right.
like they should be paid fair market value in the sense of what
Right.
their quotes generally are compared to peers. If you're one of the better ones, you should be, asking for it. And so I think hopefully there's a middle ground here, because you don't want them nickel and diming, as much as we've joked about it before too. Like, oh, well, just
No. Look,
offer your services for free.
I want everyone to get paid. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not saying that don't pay talent because they're useless and there are a million of them out there. No. Pay them what they're worth. And if you're a talent, get your bag, right? Like, go and get your money. I'm not telling you to take less money because you're talent. You should absolutely get paid what you deserve. But what I'm also saying is, from a TO's perspective, like, for example, not to knock on him because I love the guy, but like with Sean Garris, it's like, are you like that unmovable to where it's just like, oh, how will we ever replace Sean Garris on the desk? Like, I don't.
Well, they already did.
True. That is true. I will say, just from like, and when you think of like analyst desk, when I think of analysts or casters, if we're just keeping this in esports terminology, the NBA, or actually just any TNT crew, for now that they have the NHL or the NBA TNT crew, unmatched. Like, those are guys that I think are worth the money, because I am specifically tuning in to watch their, halftime show or pregame or postgame nightly wrap up, so I can see those guys, because, like Chuck and Shaq. I mean, it's just hilarious.
It's great.
Like, it's
awesome.
It's the best sports TV out there. So I understand in certain situations, but in other situations, I'm like, look, what's the difference between if you get the best caster and the fifth best caster, right? Like, it's gonna, like, some people are saying like, oh man, but in Call of Duty you have, Maven, and he was so good on this event and blah, blah, blah. I'm not discrediting that. You're absolutely right. Casters can bring in the hype. They can change the experience of an event, but I'm not tuning in to Call of Duty. I'm not tuning into VCT or Counter-Strike to see I mean, hell,
You prefer it with them, though.
right. You have your preferences, but it's like me, I can't stand Maven, and I still watch Call of Duty. Put it on mute, but I watch it, right? So it's like, it's not like I'm like,
Maven, just so you know, if you're watching, I enjoy watching you. We've talked about
But even
this
on
a few
that
times.
note, I acknowledge that he is a good caster, right? He is talented at what he does. He's just not my style. So all these people, I've said it, you've said it, no industry puts their play-by-play people on a pedestal like esports. It's unreal how esports puts their talent crew on a pedestal like you would a player, like an athlete. And I think that worked 10, 15 years ago when esports was small and they were part of the growth. Like they were a huge experience of the growth. But I don't think that's sustainable, right? Like going forward, I don't think it's sustainable.
Well, the
to be
same
like,
type of money between traditional sports and esports is not there, right? So
no.
they don't have unlimited budgets.
Despite
Although
what
a
the
company like
projections tell you.
Activision could have paid Maven and Merc their
Yeah.
quote with what they're making, right? Riot can afford to pay whoever they want their quote, but like in this case, it wasn't an issue of like Sean Gears not getting paid his quote. He was upset that he wasn't selected.
Invited.
So also different. But
So
enough about talent. Let's wrap up the talent discussion. We'll still gonna watch VCT like Tim said at the end of the day.
right at the end of the
Like,
day.
we're gonna watch it either way, and we'll talk about the games. We're not gonna come back here and talk about anything else.
Like, man, could you imagine if Sean Garris was there? Could you imagine the different of analysts that would have been said? How would have broken down the Cloud9 World Championship? Other than that, on the other side, and this is really just this Valorant, Counter-Strike, just esports in general, Gambit is looking at breaking off of the org to play as an independent remainder of VCT, and I think this is also happening on their Counter-Strike side. Are they not?
Yeah.
This is pretty
Counter-Strike
much
team will be playing.
So Gambit,
independent in Pro League.
Gambit being a Russian org. Obviously, we've talked about it on the show, and if you paid attention to what's going on in the world, a lot of sanctions going on. A lot of Russians are not allowed to participate under a Russian org. However, some exceptions are being made to where the players can still compete, but you just can't be associated with the org. And very
I
much
like that rule.
I mean, I feel like that's a fair compromise, right? Like, hey, don't punish the players, punish the company type of thing, right? I can get behind that. But also on the company side of things, the org side, much like how I understand Pioneer's situation, I totally get Gambit's situation. Like, yeah, we'll let you compete, but I don't want to pay you. Like, so I think they're trying to sell the Counter-Strike team right now. I don't know who's buying, like, not really the market to get into a Russian team, but I guess if you were a foreign org and you needed it. But
hell, if you're looking to buy a team, buy Gambit ASAP.
Think Cloud9?
Like,
Think Cloud9 wants to get in on that one?
Yeah, I mean, anybody. It's a top 5 team in the world.
Envy, if you're listening, you want to get back into CS? Maybe bring Optic back into CS. Get that Gambit roster picked up. So yeah, I like the ruling. I think the players should be allowed to play. I understand though it's a tough situation even on the org side. If we're taking away that maybe they're also bad people, right? Just looking at it from a business perspective, I totally get why they're also like a little upset that they have to pay these players and yet not be represented at all.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those situations, It's the world we're living in, as we've said last week. So that's really all I have on that one.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like you want to let your
That's just more of an update on what's going on there.
because you also don't want to be that one Russian org that's just like, no, you can't play. I'm not allowing you to go play, and you're under contract.
VP's letter that they wrote last week. I'm hoping a couple people have taken some notes from how that was presented and
Cancel culture.
yeah.
Like,
won't be releasing a similar statement after that.
no, just no, you can do that. And now we're selling them, but that at least makes sense. So there you have it. Anything else for Valorant? I think that's it.
That's it, man. I think that's it.
All right, let's get into e-news, as we have a little bit here to get through. As we mentioned, Gambit's rosters for sale. ESL Impact Women's League kicks off March 17th, so here in just a couple days for the next 6 weeks. Tune in, support, show your support for the ladies. Simp on the league, bro.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually kind of excited to like just watch them kind of compete, and have their own stage. Like, not like a bigger stage than ESL and Counter-Strike, So, it is pretty cool, and I'm excited to see how their league looks like.
I'm interested in the play style because I won't lie to you, I have not watched female Counter-Strike in a very, very, very long time. Couldn't tell you the last time I watched a female Counter-Strike game, but the last thing I remember is that there were a lot of P90s involved. So it's just funny how
it's way different, bro. Like these girls are like.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'll be interested to see if the play style just looks completely different, right? Maybe just not from like a skill standpoint, but just from like just different strategies. I don't know. You know, before it was very distinctively different. Like for whatever reason, female Counter-Strike just preferred different guns. For whatever reason, it's just the meta that picks up there is different than from the male side. So I'm interested. I will be watching. I think
you'll see a very, very similar play style to the men's side.
I will be watching for sure. And Call of Duty Warzone coming to mobile. There's that for you mobile gamers out there.
I mean, cool. It's kind of cool that it's like they're bringing a.
Well, I mean, we all knew it was happening, so
yeah.
But it'll
be better than the PC version.
I also saw on a side note that Battlefield is coming to mobile. I saw that they were opened up jobs for Battlefield Mobile. I don't know why in your right mind you would even want to throw yourself on that fire pile, but I guess a job's a job. So, I mean,
again, it can't be worse.
I was gonna say, I feel like 2042 plays like it's on mobile, so maybe it's
built for mobile.
Maybe it's just a port, and they never said anything. In FPS news, X Defiant playtest is signing up, so if you wanted to give that a go, speaking of what looks like a mobile game, I hope for its success. I never want to see a game fail. So
yeah, it was just like the initial viewing that we saw. Neither of us
the launch was not the greatest, but you know what? They have former COD pros on there and everything like that, so we'll see. Gears of War announced sad news that this will be the last season for Gears Esports. They are working on future projects as they look ahead for future projects. Now, Anuj, though, I saw this, and I'm like, future projects? Gears 5 only came out in 2019.
Yeah, it's like,
what future project are you working on?
It doesn't matter what it is. I think it's just we realize at this point we have them rated an F tier in our last list. They obviously see it too. It's not like we're just some brilliant wizards that can rank esports based on how they're doing. Like, I think they understand where they're at, and Gear 6 is probably not the answer. It's not like it's going to make that much of a difference. So
this is why this is why we're the professionals, We said they're an F tier. F tier for us is you are on life support. The only reason you are still alive is because some CEO on the other end is just not letting them pull the plug.
Yeah.
And for Gears, they finally pulled the plug. This is why, and I remember when we set out this year's tier list, I remember there was one person on Twitter saying, Gears of War is tier F. Like, what are you guys talking about? It's not an F tier. You can't let emotions get in the way.
Well, he's technically right.
It's
not
non-existent.
Not be in a tier.
So you can't let emotions get in the way when discussing the esports tier list. It's very serious business. And
we'll get one more ranking.
We'll
get one more time around by the time this is their last season. So
yeah, this is the last season. So stay hard to Gears. You had your moment in the sun for a little bit there during the MLG days, but we'll see. It's like you said, like Gears 6 come out and all of a sudden they revamp their esports and just think it's going to blow up. Like, I don't...
Gears 5 came out and it was free to play on the Xbox store and I never even downloaded it.
Yeah, so I just don't... And from what I hear, a lot of people didn't they didn't do that great of a job with it from an esports side, so...
Yeah.
Stay hard, Gears. Stay hard. It's never fun seeing a fellow esports die. You always want to see him succeed, but unfortunately they all can't. Evo. Actually, let me pull this up here. Evo announced their game list for the year. No Smash. This could have been a yikes, but I guess we'll just leave it all in the same thing here. No Smash of any sort. It was announced a couple weeks ago, maybe last week at this point. Nintendo nixed it. They wanted it. Nintendo said no. Dumb Nintendo said no.
Like, why?
Like, Evo is the biggest stage for fighting games. You will never get more free advertising for people wanting to play your game, and you say no. Don't have to do. All you have to do, Nintendo, is say yes, and then they'll handle the rest. They have the games. They have the systems. You don't have to do anything. Just
literally
say yes.
nothing. You just have to allow it.
And it's free advertising on your game on the biggest stage. And
Maybe they're still trying to distance themselves.
Well, I mean, I know they're doing their own thing. Like, they announced that they're doing their own league, and I'm sure that's why. But if you think you're reserving yours to compete against Evo, not going to happen. You know, maybe it has something to do now with Sony owning it, but I doubt it. Like, Nintendo has been so bullheaded on this forever. So no Smash. But we do have good games. Street Fighter, obviously. The big ones that I think are important are Street Fighter, Tekken. Mortal Kombat is back. It was not there, a couple years ago. Mortal Kombat is back. You have Dragon Ball Fighter Z is back. The new Guilty Gear is there. Skullgirl. So you have big games. The big games are there. Everything that you want to see. The one thing that kind of sucks is no Marvel vs. Capcom, but they did tweet out a teaser saying, hey, Marvel vs. Capcom fans, don't give up hope. We got something. So maybe like a side hustle tournament, not main stage. So, there's a lot of fighting games out there. Y'all can't be main stage, so it is what it is on that note for Marvel fans.
It's sad not seeing Smash.
It's just, that's really what it is. It's just, it sucks. Sucks. So we'll discuss that, though, more in the future, because it was always funny seeing people. The FGC community is so bitter about. No one hates the FGC world more than FGC fans. Like, fighting game fans hate themselves because they all, like, where we say, like, man, it sucks to see Gears of War go, man. We would like to have seen it succeed. Even though we didn't watch it, we didn't play it, it would have been cool to see it succeed. Fighting games is like, good. I hope Smash dies.
I hope it's gone.
Yeah, like, it sucks. It's not Street Fighter, blah. Or it's like if you're a Street Fighter fan, you're like, Dragon Ball Z.
No different than Counter-Strike fans. No different than Call of Duty versus Battlefield fans. It's all the same.
It's just,
we're all the same. We're all hateful.
Man, FGC's on another level, though. I feel like they don't even want outsiders in. So, at least with the other ones, they're welcome you. FGC is like, get out of my face. In other news, PlayStation won't be selling hardware or games in Russia, so
Gran Turismo was delayed or held back.
On the bright side, if you were Russian and you were wanting a PS5, nothing's really changed.
You couldn't get one anyway, so it doesn't
Couldn't
matter.
find it anyways.
Doesn't matter.
Hogwarts.
No, but it is, just good. Just another.
Just another one.
Everybody else, anybody that can support, it's good.
Like I said, I actually tweeted this out. Yeah, it's like even if it's a 0.01% difference, right? At this point, it's fine. I'm over it. I've completely come full circle on the silly sanctions. I just think anything at this point, just throw it at them. See if this one makes the difference. What if Putin was all of a sudden like, oh shit, I really wanted Gran Turismo. End it.
I just built my racing setup.
I just got my racing rig. Boy, that'd be awesome. Imagine if that's how World War III was avoided, because he just bought a racing sim and he just really needed it.
Really wanted Gran Turismo.
Hogwarts Legacy. It will be extended. You'll have March 17th, so just in a couple of days, at the PlayStation Play event for gameplay. So we'll actually see real gameplay.
I need this. I need this in my life.
I'm so ready. I'm so ready for this game.
I'm waiting for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to finally release their game, which has not happened.
I don't
yet.
understand.
I don't like
that game was announced like 3 years.
Game. Like, come on now. And then this game. I'm waiting for both of these games to come out. Excited to see an extended little gameplay teaser from them.
This will be a game, Anuj, where I just want you to know it's a 10 out of 10 no matter how bad it is. I will never admit this game is not fun. Like, I will play it.
I'm gonna turn the lights off in here,
Oh.
set the mood.
I'm gonna watch
Maybe
the
pop an
movies.
edible or two and just zonk out and play for like 5 hours.
I'm just gonna watch the movie. I'll just maybe in the car, just pop in like the soundtrack for that day. Just I need to get into the wizard mode.
Yeah.
I'm so ready for it. At the last PlayStation State of Play, they did show gameplay of the new Gundam game coming out, which is a 5v5 shooter built with esports in mind. It is free to play. Kind of looks like a free to play. We'll see. You know, I'll definitely play it. I'm a sucker for Gundam, and the fact that they in the announcement said, "Hey, we're building this out for esports." At worst, it will be popular in Japan. Like worst case scenario, it will be a success in Japan.
I mean, it's free to play. It'll have some traction to start. At
Yeah,
least.
yeah. Upcomer esports news website recently laid off damn near all their employees. Switching formats, trying to go more video from what I hear. So, you know, just a shout out. I know we have some upcomer staffers who listen to the show. If you are one of those affected by the layoff, sorry to hear. And if you're an employer out there listening and you're looking for some new talent, whether it be, it's like everything, writers, editors, social media, anything out there that you need, you got a bunch of talented free agents out there. So considering it was only like the day before they were tweeting out, like people were tweeting out like, man, we're doing great. The website's doing really well. We're at 1 million hits.
Looking at the growth and
then boom.
Yeah.
So ain't that a son of a bitch?
Unfortunately, we wish them all the best and hopefully they all land on their feet soon enough.
Isn't that a bitch? Liquid defeats Hollandress. Is this part of the WoW thingy?
Yeah, so this was crazy, dude. I mean, so Hollandress had taken 357 pulls.
Now this is
before
for those who don't know. This is part of the World of Warcraft race to first.
World first type race to first, whatever to call it now. 357 pulls. I mean, this is like breaking some records here. This took a long time. Obviously, there's some that have exceeded this, but they were first to defeat him. I think another group came in at like 362 or 361. It might have been Echo coming in after them. So crazy. I mean, it's been fun to watch. If you haven't tuned in, they are getting there. So it's starting to become more and more exciting. But Liquid's done really well so far. They've been the first to defeat most of the bosses at this point. So if you're not tuning in, go tune in.
Liquid NA team. So for those NA people,
don't skip.
I'm saving it.
Don't skip it. This is a legend.
A very hard rest in peace to legendary wrestler Scott Hall.
AKA
I'm tapped out on my knowledge at that point.
Razor Ramon. This dude was, man, I was such a WWF and WWE C fanatic back in the day. Like I used to live and breathe this shit. So we've replicated that move several times with the arms out, somebody pinned on your back, and you kind of body slam him. He was great. He was so entertaining, and so definitely big RIP to him and condolences to his friends and family. But yeah, dude left a mark. He did something cool and was part of something special. So
I have not watched any form of wrestling for 1 second of my life, but I can appreciate the cultural impact of it considering I know all of the wrestlers.
I haven't watched it in 15 plus years, but when we were kids, we were so hooked on. I mean, we had magazines that we
I
had
still
on
have buddies that are grown-ass adults that are that is... you talk about their version of The Bachelor. It's wrestling
Stone
night.
Cold Steve Austin middle finger that I bought when I went to the event
Of
here.
course.
It wasn't even Reunion Arena. It was Reunion Arena, not the AAC, like the old school. You know. So definitely wrestling has some really fun, cool memories for me growing up, and so.
Well, maybe we can go when they come into town. I think it would be a fun event to go. Like I said, I've never even watched it on TV.
Oh, bro, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know any of the new wrestlers, but it would be cool.
I think half of them are the old ones. So
they?
I did see an announcement like Stone Cold is coming back for a fight, and I'm like, isn't he like 70 right now? Like, how can he even?
I would pay a couple $100.
Like, imagine what
Get me
his
in.
knees are like. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
But
It's probably a smart idea because all the kids that did grow up watching him are all making money and working now.
can't
So.
get paid for the premier
Yeah.
ticket. You're probably right. So stay hard, Scott Hall. Stay hard. All right. That does it. That does it for episode 376 of the Center Ring Esports Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. WrestleMania is coming to Dallas, apparently, so we'll make it happen, Captain.
What? Let's look it up.
We got that and the Cowboys and Lions game this year. Those will be our two dates. But that does it for the show, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you tuned in live, listened to the recording, skipped around, love you all the same. We will be back next Monday, unless life changes and we let you know if we're recording on a Tuesday or whatnot. But we'll be back next Monday. Sign up for that Overwatch 2 beta if you haven't. Get in on that action. I might even download. See, the thing is, I want to download Overwatch 1 again because I'm caught up in the hype, but it's just, there's no point. It's such a different game. But we'll see. You never know. Never know. But we will be back. Check us out on Twitter at The Center Ring. Our Discord. Join the conversation. It's in the description of said Twitter account. And all that. Yeah. Dallas. Wolf, if you're not from the DFW, if you say Dallas, it covers everything.
Yeah, I understood that it was in the DFW area.
So everyone, thank you so much for listening. For Anuj, I'm Tim. We'll see you next time. Love you. Bye. Hockey
Bro, it's like in 2 weeks.
Oh, is it really?
April 2nd and April 3rd. Interesting. That might be kind of cool.
I've never been to one.
1-day ticket.
I've never watched one. Right here. Saturday, Stone Cold, the KO show. Saturday, April 2nd at 8 o'clock.
Is Stone Cold just fighting?
I mean, they're hyping it up that he is. You know how that goes.
Okay.
And he's the only one, like, I know him, Undertaker, like, that's my Mankind. Like, those are the ones that I know only because my friend had a game, so we played the video games.
Oh, thanks, Noman. Tim put some work in on that. He was telling me to look at it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I got still edit a few things on it and stuff, like put our logo and whatnot, but yeah.
God,
I finally
it's
stopped being lazy.
expensive, dude.
Are they expensive?
If you want to, like, not sit on the last row. Yeah, super fucking expensive if you don't want to sit on the last row. I see. The thing is, people that might be coming from like other parts of the country to see this don't know AT&T Stadium. This ring is going to be tiny.
But you'll have
in
it on
that
the you have it
stadium.
on the screen. You
I
know?
don't give a shit. Then I'll order it on pay-per-view.
But you don't want to just be in the building for the atmosphere, the stage.
Not the last row.
Holy fuck. You weren't kidding about expensive. You said expensive, and I was thinking like, okay, how much can wrestling be? $90? What the?
No, I would have
fuck?
been willing to pay up to $100 if I was sitting like closer, but like
Bro, this is $90 for the last row.
the last row. You could get some for like 40, but it's literally the last row. You know, I mean, you are at the very top, and you won't see anything. Anything. You wouldn't be able to tell who the fans and the wrestlers are from up there in AT&T Stadium. Because I've gone to basketball games, and I went to the Final Four
Oh god.
at AT&T Stadium, and that was like really tough. Like you were very far away from the basketball court. Like I didn't realize how much smaller a basketball court was than like an NFL field. I knew it was smaller, obviously, but I didn't understand the scale difference.
Well, like
I was
seeing
like
them.
shocked. I was like, holy shit, that looks so tiny out there.
What if we do on?
It was the Elite Eight. It was the game where fucking Trey Burke from Michigan beat Florida Gulf Coast. Remember that team
Uh-huh.
that like made that crazy run? He had a game winner against them.
So Sunday's not at. I mean, it's still expensive, but it's not because Sunday doesn't have Stone Cold, right? So it's not nearly.
Yeah,
as,
and that's like kind of what I would want to see.
Well, that's why that one's expensive.
Maybe I will just pay-per-view it. Dude, my fucking neck like goes in and out sometimes
Getting old.
where it is just it's because I'm like at my computer for so many hours and then I also want to play later on, so like I'm at the computer for like another
That's half the
3,
reason
4
I'm
hours.
not on as much. Like how it's like you guys get on around like 8, you know? I
Yeah.
don't get on at 8 because it's like I just got off of work at 6 and I'm like I just need time away from my office.
Yeah.
That being
No,
said,
I just can't get on like that late. If I start playing at like 10:30, 11,
I'm going to
like
I
I'm
got to
gonna
go
do
into the
right now.
office tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to it.
Oh, that sucks.
Dude, it fucking sucks. We went last week 1 week, this week we're going 2 days. It's Wednesday, Thursday we're in the office now. It's a mind fuck. It really is because it's like now the other days of the week you feel like you don't want to work. You're like, I'm at home. I feel like this is a vacation now because I'm not
I'm
in the
off now.
office. Or like
Yeah, I
on
feel that.
Thursday, like Thursday feels like Friday because you're like, well, I'm at home tomorrow.
No, I feel that. All right, I'm gonna go take some meds. I'll see what Kelly's doing. I might hop back on.
All right.
I need.
All right,
something
everyone in
for this.
chat. Love your face. We're going
Love
to
you
kill the
guys.
stream. I'll keep an eye out. Maybe we can like snipe some cheap tickets, you know, like closer
Maybe I
to
need
the
to look
event.
at a different site because that's expensive. See if I can get some third-party tickets somewhere else.
On Sunday we can sit nosebleed for $30. Which
It's
I mean,
not terrible, but I don't want to sit. I really don't want to.
I don't want to sit in the nosebleed, but if I'm gonna sit in the nosebleed, at least it's $30.
Like $30, yeah. It's just too far back, and like that ring is gonna be. You're gonna watch the screen the whole time.
Well, yeah. I mean, shit. That's how big is a wrestling?
Dude, it's
ring?
tiny.
It's 20 by a wrestling ring is 20 by 20.
Bro, it's not even fucking. It's 20 yards. It's 10 yards. 10 yards by 10 yards. It's gonna be the size of the Cowboys logo.
Yeah, that's gonna
It'll be
be
real small.
insane.
All right, I need to go take something.
All right,
This is
everyone,
killing me.
chat.
All right, bud. Later, guys.
Say it.